Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Gore Reviews. I'm Gore Beast. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up below, leave me some comments in the comments section, share this video on social media, and also please subscribe to my channel so that when I post new content you are alerted to that fact. And with that all out of the way, let's jump right in with the first item up for review today, and that is this little book called The Night Manager by Jeff O'Brien. Now, for those who don't know, Jeff O'Brien is an author. He's been around for some years now. His books are generally really short and fast-paced. They're generally very, very humorous. I just want to put this back up there for a second and just kind of look at that artwork. That cover art is fantastic. And as you can see, there are some tentacled monsters in this story. And basically what it is, it's kind of semi-autobiographical. It's about a guy who works in a grocery store, and anyone who knows Jeff O'Brien knows that he is a butcher in a grocery store. I guess he's in a grocery store? I know he's a butcher. So, anyway, he gets promoted to manager in this story, and immediately things start to go south. These comets crash into his town and unleash unholy terror upon him and his co-workers, who are initially trapped within the grocery store, but as the story progresses, he and a few others get out of the grocery store and the story continues there. If you like gore and really hot babes fawning over the main character, which is, obviously that's makes it funny because it is, as I said, semi-autobiographical. So the main character is basically Jeff O'Brien, and it's a very fun story, very quick read. I have his latest release. This is not his latest release. This was actually his previous release. His latest release is called Butt Stuff. And I have to tell you, that's one of the greatest titles for a book ever made. I thought Carlton Mellick had some great titles, which he actually does have some really, really great titles. But Butt Stuff is up there. That's a great title, and I can't wait to dig into that one. If it's anything near as good as The Night Manager and Jeff O'Brien's previous work to that, it's well worth your time to check out. If you like a lot of silliness and humor with your gore, you should definitely check out Jeff O'Brien, because his stories are actually very funny. Like, a lot of times I have trouble reading humor, if that makes sense. Like, I'm more, a movie can be very funny to me, but a lot of times reading the humor, it doesn't translate for me. But Jeff O'Brien definitely has mastered that, so you should check any of his stuff out and you'll have a good time with it. So check that out. Again, The Night Manager, I want to show that again because that artwork is fantastic. I'm not sure who did the cover art. Let me look real quick. That would be Justin T. Coons. That would explain it. He's a great cover artist. I've seen some other stuff he's done, and it always looks really, really good, as does this cover. And next up on the agenda is a movie review, and it's the latest release. If you can see that, the title there, House on the Edge of the Park. It's a double feature with Last House on Massacre Street, which, full disclosure, I have not watched yet. You have the option to watch the films individually or as a drive-in theater experience where it's, one after the other with intermission and there's some trailers thrown in there. Kind of like, obviously, the easiest example for people to get would be like Grindhouse was, the Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, where they had the fake trailers, but these are actual genuine trailers. It's kind of giving you that drive-in experience. Now, I have not watched, as I said, Last House on Massacre Street, but House on the Edge of the Park, however, is a classic video nasty, directed by Ruggero Deodato, or I'm Italian and I can't even pronounce Italian names, and I guess I fail at being Italian. But if you know who that director is and you can pronounce his name correctly, unlike myself, he also is famous for Cannibal Holocaust. And if you've never seen that movie, that one is definitely worth checking out. However, if you're at all sensitive to animal cruelty and actual animals being killed on film, don't watch that movie. I believe many releases of the movie have an option where it's like an animal cruelty free version where it skips over those parts. So if you're squeamish about that kind of stuff or that upsets you, then you should check that version out, because I think you should still see the film. Many consider that to be the first found footage film, and it's awesome, and I love it. But anyway, back to House on the Edge of the Park, not Last House on the Left. Funny enough, same star, David Hess, is in both films. You may know him from Last House on the Left, or also Swamp Thing. He's in that movie as well. He plays sadistic like no one else. He's fantastic at playing absolutely sadistic and menacing characters. In this film, he and Giovanni Lombardo Radice, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. You may recognize him from, let's see, Cannibal Ferox or Cannibal Apocalypse. A few films like that. Italian films. He's obviously an Italian actor, if you couldn't tell from his name. The two of them are buddies, and David Hess's character is, obviously, as I said, he's a psychotic person. And they find themselves invited to this house party with a small group of people. And the people are kind of being... kind of messing with them, especially with Giovanni's character, who's a little slow, and David Hess's character takes offense to that, and eventually things lead to violence. And again, as with Cannibal Holocaust, a little different. There's not animal cruelty, but there is a lot of sexual violence in this film. David Hess's character is very brutal with the female characters. Of course, I mean rape. It's not pleasant to watch, although for some reason during these scenes there's like the most romantic music playing you can imagine. The juxtaposition of that is kind of strange, but it works within the film. And again, as with animal cruelty, if the sexual violence is too much for you, then don't see this movie. But if you can handle it, this movie's definitely worth checking out. It looks okay on this Blu-ray transfer. It's not amazing, but it looks better than any previous release, and it's definitely worth upgrading if you have this movie on DVD and you're looking to upgrade it. And it's cheap, especially for a double feature. No special features at all. But again, it's cheap, and you get this bonus movie with it, which I have not checked out yet, but I'm going to do that at some point. You should check both of them out. And moving on to the final thing I want to talk about today. Excuse me, I'm a little parched. Throat's a little dry here. Let me... Oh, that was refreshing. The last thing I want to talk about today If my camera's shaking a little bit, that's because my cats are running around like maniacs and shaking the whole table where my camera is positioned. So I apologize for that. The last thing I want to talk about, I don't know how many of you are big hip-hop fans, but we lost a pretty big hip-hop guy from the 90s, Craig Mack. Most will remember him from the song Flavor in Your Ear. You know, everybody heard that song because it was on the radio all the time. He passed away yesterday, and I just wanted to mention that real quick. And if you haven't checked out any of Craig Mack's music, do that. He put out 2 albums in the 90s, and then he kind of went away for 20 or so years almost. But then he came back to doing some music, and then unfortunately he just died yesterday. From what I read, it was heart failure. He was only mid 40s, 46, 47, I'm not sure exactly. Too young to die either way, and especially since he was coming back and doing music again, and it's a shame. He had a really good career in the 90s. He was, like I said, he was on the radio. If you were listening to the radio in the 90s, you know who Craig Mack is. There's no way you could avoid that. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick, and if you've never heard Craig Mack, you should definitely check out some of his stuff. Especially, I don't know his newer stuff, but his stuff from the 90s was good. He wasn't like my favorite rapper or anything like that, but when he started out, he was with Bad Boy, so if he was with them, he has to have some amount of talent. They don't just pull any schmo off the street for their label. So with that said, that'll about wrap it up for this week. Again, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up below. Throw some comments below in the comments section. Share this video on social media. And if you would, please subscribe to my channel so that you can be alerted when I post new content, which I try to do at least once or twice a week now that I got over my little hiatus and I'm back in the swing of things. So again, I'm GOREbeast, this is GOREviews, and until next time, stay frosty.